As I was grabbing my stool to record this video, I realized how small the tops of my combat boots are. I'm usually around a size 10 in shoes now, and that seems a little above average for most people, but they give you such a little circle to fit your calf through, it's unbelievable. Here's the boot, and imagine trying to fit your calf in that. Speaking of shoes and beauty, I had a topic I wanted to talk to you guys about today, before the new Cinderella movie comes out tomorrow. As if it wasn't every little girl's dream to become a real-life princess. That was my dream. In kindergarten, I dressed up as Cinderella for Halloween. While most of the boys in my class were monsters or vampires or action stars, most of us girls were princesses. Isn't that always the way? If your parents raised you like a typical girl, you were probably exposed to the classic animated movies Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, etc. Many of you may already know some of the things that the Disney versions of these tales change from the original stories they're derived from. Today, however, I'd like to focus on Cinderella because that's the live-action movie that's coming out tomorrow. As I'm not too interested in seeing this movie, I haven't really looked up much about what the plot is gonna be. You sort of know the gist because you most likely know Cinderella's original story, but I'm hoping that they change the plot in some way, even if it won't be as significant as the changes made to a movie like Snow White and the Huntsman. By the way, that was actually a pretty good movie. Earlier today, I read the Aesop's Fairy Tales original story titled Cinderella to give you guys some things that the Disney animated film did change from the story. Perhaps one of the biggest mysteries is Cinderella's real name, because I have a quote from the short story here, and it says, "And because she always looked dusty and dirty as if she had slept in the cinders, they named her Cinderella." And before the stepmother came into the picture, she didn't sleep in the cinders, or she didn't look like she slept in them, because the father and the mother actually treated her pretty well. So I wonder what her real name was. We don't really get to know. I can't remember if we do in the animated film or not. In the original story, the king orchestrated a 3-day festival in which his son was able to pick a bride for himself. Somehow, Cinderella is able to slip off to the festival all 3 days, and she doesn't wear any mask or anything, so it was surprising to me that the mother nor the two stepsisters recognized her at any point. She wore 3 different gorgeous golden dresses instead of a blue one, and there is no fairy godmother in the original story. I can't decide whether or not I like that they made the stepsisters in the original story beautiful on the outside, but they still told that they weren't beautiful on the inside, that they were quite ugly with how they treated Cinderella. One reason I dislike this from the original story is because I feel that their insides, or their outsides, should match their insides. But one reason I like this is because I don't want people to associate ugliness with meanness or anything like that. One of the most ridiculous things about the Cinderella story is that people believe that only one girl can fit into that specific shoe size. Even though Cinderella's two stepsisters couldn't fit their feet into the shoe, they went to extreme lengths to try and squeeze it in there. One of the stepsisters cut off her big toe and the other cut off a piece of her heel. Along with the fact that the original Cinderella story is a silly hetero romance that leads girls to believe in love at first sight, there are also other bad lessons they can learn from this. The viewers can recognize that the stepmother's behavior towards Cinderella is cruel and too harsh. Most of the characters in the story believe that this is normal. Cinderella never stands up for herself in the story, and this may lead young girls to not want to stand up for themselves. Instead, they may wait for a fairy godmother who doesn't show up in any other time of need except for when to get Cinderella a man or a prince that falls in love with her just because she's pretty. This story also sends a strong message that changing yourself will change your situation. Girls should not be taught that a nice prince will come and rescue them. In the movie, Cinderella is said to be around 19. Why hasn't she left? Why hasn't she started her own life? They should be taught how to get out of bad situations. Please stop showing your kids these messed up fantasies.